Okay, now it's time to talk about saving and citing your sources. My number one piece of advice here is to be sure that you save your sources in a way that makes sense to you. There are many different ways to save or cite sources in ProQuest, and it's not necessary that you use one method over another method, but what is necessary is that you keep your sources organized in a way that makes sense. That's the number one piece of advice I can give. In this case, I have, I think, 11. I have 11 sources that I'm going to save. Most of them are sources that I found using that initial search, Dynasty and Television. After looking at some of those results, I did additional searches for Dynasty and licensing because I noticed that a lot of the articles were about products that were being sold to consumers that use the Dynasty name. And so that was sort of what guided my next round of research. And I did a few other searches: Dynasty, licensing, Dynasty, products, and found additional results that way. I probably would have found those results using the initial search anyway, but it made it a little easier to do a more targeted keyword search. And so I have 11 sources that I want to save. On the top here, there is a menu where you can download the PDF of the article. You can cite the article, email it, print it to yourself, and have additional options. If you click additional options or all options, you'll see that there are lots of different possibilities. You can download the image you just saw, which was the PDF of the article. You can download a PDF of the entire newspaper page that the article appeared on, including any other articles. So if you wanted to see where in the paper it appeared. And you can cite it, email, print. These two are particularly useful. This is save to my research, and this is add to selected items. Both of these are really efficient ways of saving your sources. My research requires that you have a ProQuest account. You just have to provide an email and a password and then click the confirmation that gets sent to your email. And when that happens, you can save sources in ProQuest in individual folders in a very organized fashion. Selected items basically does exactly what it says. It selects the items and sort of holds them for you. You do not need to have a ProQuest account to use add to selected items. So if you want to save that step, you can just click add to selected items. However, that does mean that it doesn't save your results for the next time. So you have to be sure to print them or save them in some fashion, probably save it as a PDF or export it. And I'll show you how to do that. So in this case, I will click Save to My Research. It asks me to sign in, and as I said, I made an account. So it's very easy to do that. And I have a folder here which I created called Dynasty Articles, which I can save it in. There you go. I can also go to Add to Selected Items, and it will add that item to this folder icon on the top right. And so I'm going to do that with the rest of these articles, and then I will come back and show you how to go from there. Okay, so using this All Options button, I saved all of them to my research, all of the 11 articles that I found to my research, and I also added them to selected items. You can do one or the other. If you want, you can download each individual article as a PDF and save them individually. This will take up a lot more space on your computer, but as long as you have a way to organize your research using a specific folder and naming conventions, that will work as well. You can also just provide the citation for the articles and then return to the ProQuest page every time you want to access them. That also is fine as long as you save those citations in a place where you will be able to find them. Right? So there's lots of options, but in this case I used my research and selected items. So if you go to selected items, which is this folder on the top right, this is what you'll probably do because it doesn't require that you have an account. At this point, you can click this ellipsis here and download a PDF of all of the items. You can also download citations for the items if you use a citation formatting software like EndNote or Zotero. So this will allow that, although there are some problems with this system, which I will talk about. You can also just cite the individual citations in a bibliography, and then you can copy this into your file. But again, you have to review them. In this case, we'll use MLA 8th edition, by the way. I didn't specify that. So you can click copy here and paste that into a Word document, at which point you should review the citations for accuracy. I think the best option here is export to PDF. If you click this, it will allow you to export the entirety of your research, the full text of the articles that you located, the citations, abstracts, images, and indexing. You can also check this box and include bibliographic citations at the end, and then select the citation style that works, that your professor requires. In this field, we use the Chicago Notes Bibliography or MLA style, and MLA is a little bit easier, so we'll click that. And then you can also choose any of these if you want, and click I am not a robot. Oh wait, select bicycles. None of those are bicycles. Traffic lights. This is a little bit annoying, but you're all used to this at this point. And then it says error. I will try it again. Okay, and so here it is. Here is the abstract and full text and bibliographic information for each of the articles that I saved. Now, obviously, you would read these and incorporate them into your own history paper. This isn't like an essay in itself. This is just the citations in a simple place. But it's very useful in order to keep your citations organized. You can see there's a little bit of a error here where the full text of this article did not render, but you can click the document link and it'll take you to the article. So when that happens, or that, right, there are glitches in some cases, and you just sort of have to go where the interface takes you. So if there's a glitch, don't panic. In this case, it looks like the page views of the articles did not render correctly, which sometimes happens. But still, it has all of the relevant information that you need to find the sources and to evaluate them and to cite them. So that's, I think, the best way to do this. Once again, what I did was I selected the items in selected items and clicked this ellipsis to see the export options and chose PDF. That's how I did that. You could also do the same thing if you save them to My Research. In this case, you can click Save, click PDF, and it'll have the same options as before. So whether you use My Research or selected items, the end result is the same, which is a single document that has the full text of your sources, or at the very least, links to your sources and all of the bibliographic information.